we already there? Joining us now is Congressman David Cicilline. He's a Democrat of Rhode Island, a member of the Judiciary Committee. Sir, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Good to be with you.
So I know that this is a story that is still developing over the course of today and into this evening. Let me just ask what your latest understanding is of where we are with the subpoena, a potential vote to hold the Attorney General in contempt on Wednesday morning.
Well, you described it accurately, Rachel. The Department of Justice officials are going to meet with the staff of the Judiciary Committee tomorrow in one final effort to reach some sort of resolution of this disagreement. But the contempt citation has been set for Wednesday. The committee, if an agreement is not reached tomorrow, will move forward to adjudge the Attorney General in contempt for his failure to comply with a lawfully issued subpoena.
What would be the material impact of him being held in contempt? Obviously, it's something that has only very rarely ever happened. The Republicans did that against Eric Holder around the Fast and Furious controversy back in 2012. How would it materially affect Bill Barr's life to be held in contempt if that's how the vote goes?
Well, if the vote is approved in the Judiciary Committee, it would go to the House floor and it would authorize a finding of contempt and authorize an action, a court action, to enforce the subpoena. So it would then take the matter into the court where we would seek enforcement of the subpoena.
Speaking of court, your committee keeps asking William Barr if he will help you out, asking a federal judge for an order that would allow the release of the grand jury information from Mueller's report that's currently redacted. Obviously, we all know that a judge has to issue a court order in order for that material to be released. You have to ask in order for the judge to do that. He keeps saying no, as he's repeatedly been asked about that. My question, and I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a member of Congress, so forgive me if this is a dumb question, but why aren't you guys just going to court yourselves? I don't think he's going to ever help you with that, no matter how many times you ask him.
Yeah, no, it's not a dumb question at all. Look, I think there has been a hope throughout these negotiations that the Attorney General would reach some accommodation and furnish the committee with the unredacted report and work with us to seek authorization for the release of the grand jury testimony. As you mentioned in the, earlier in the show, you know, in the Starr investigation, when the report was done, the entire report was delivered to Congress with 18 boxes of documents, including the grand jury proceedings, because Ken Starr went to court to seek authorization to release them to Congress before Congress even asked for it. That's the practice we should be following. You know, I think the chairman of the committee continues to hope that there will be a resolution, in which case Mr. Barr will do it with Congress. The truth is, courts look much more favorably on requests for the release of grand jury testimony when it comes from the government, from the Attorney General. So it would enhance our chances of success. But I think the committee is fully prepared, in the absence of Mr. Barr doing this on his own or with us, to do it on our own. But I think we continue to try to reach an accommodation to get the materials that we need as quickly as we can to continue to do our oversight work.
Congressman, can I also ask, in terms of the documents and materials and testimony that you're not only seeking, but in the case of Don McGahn, you've issued a subpoena for. Don McGahn was subpoenaed to testify later this month. He's also directed by that subpoena to hand over a whole bunch of documentation by tomorrow morning. Do you expect that he'll meet that deadline?
Yes, the document requests are returnable tomorrow. He's expected to testify on first. Those are both, you know, a lawfully issued subpoena. We expect Mr. McGahn to comply with that subpoena and produce the documents tomorrow and appear before the committee to testify on the 21st.
You said this weekend that Robert Mueller himself, there's a target date for his testimony, which would be next Wednesday, the 15th. Any update for us on those negotiations or what the sticking point might be in terms of nailing that down?
No, I mean, the chairman of the committee, Chairman Nadler, set aside the 15th of May as the date that the committee is available for Mr. Mueller's testimony. I know there are ongoing discussions. It's critical, in my view, that Mr. Mueller come before the committee and walk the American people through the finding in his report, answer questions about the judgments he made, the decisions he made, the context of those things. And, of course, the president said he had no – at first he said, you know, that's up to Mr. Barr whether the special counsel will be permitted to testify. Mr. Barr has said he had no objection to it. He said that under oath. But now, of course, as this conversation continues, the president has now changed his mind and says he doesn't think Mr. Mueller should testify, which is sort of curious, because if, in fact, this report completely exonerated the president, not only would the president want him to testify, you think the president might offer him a ride to the committee so that he could be quickly heard and exonerate him. And I think it's further evidence that the president is gravely concerned about the testimony of the special counsel and what he will tell the American people as he walks them through the findings in the Mueller report.
Congressman David Cicilline, Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee. Sir, thank you for your time tonight. I know this is going to move fast this week. Keep us